So what happens, it tell you in the Apocrypha that first you'll see the clouds in the Middle East, and then the clouds or the star will come from the Middle East to go out and make Babylon desolate. So we're seeing the clouds now. A ruckus coming up over this area, a fight, you see a clouds coming over this area. So you're going to see missiles being shot in the Middle East. But then Babylon will make a thought to go against Iran. And there's a reason, I'm going to tell you, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, you can tell he's totally confident with this. He's not nervous. He's the coolest diplomat on earth right now. He's like, listen, no problem. You know, it's all right. Let's look into the Holocaust. Okay? He's like, listen, I'm not worried about Israel. Israel, come on, man. They're smaller than all of Arabia. You think I'm worried about Israel? Let me tell you, I'm going to show you what happens when they get the gall, and they have to go against Iran. Finish reading in Ezekiel 38.
Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 5.
Read it.
Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah, and the north quarters, and all his band, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company, that are assembled unto thee, and be thou guard unto them. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith the Most High Power, it shall also come to pass, that at that same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates.
That's us. That's us. What's going to happen? The nations that are fighting each other are going to realize the reason they're fighting is to tear each other down so that we can rule. So they're going to know, some spirit going to let them know that we are in a certain area being protected by the Most High. They're going to think this in their mind. Well, let's go take them out. These people who are being protected by the Most High. We're going to be gathered into the same area we was in when we came out of Egypt. And they know this. They're going to say, listen, let's go and try to take them out. Read.
Verse 12. To take a spoil, and to take a prey, to turn thy hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited.
Go ahead.
And upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods, that dwell in the midst of the land. Sheba and Dedan, and the merchants of Tarshish, with all the young lions thereof, shall say unto thee, Art thou come to take a spoil?
Have you come to take a spoil, read?
Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey? To carry away silver and gold? To take away cattle and goods?
Do you think you're going to spoil us again? Read.
To take a great spoil? Therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto God, Thus saith the Most High Power, In that day when my people of Israel dwelleth safely, shalt thou not know it? And thou shalt come from thy place out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee, all of them riding upon horses, a great company and a mighty army. And thou shalt come up against my people Israel, as a cloud to cover the land. It shall be in the latter days, and I will bring thee against my land, that the heathen may know me, when I shall be sanctified in thee, O God, before their eyes. Thus saith the Most High Power, Art thou he, of whom I have spoken in old time by my servants the prophets of Israel, which prophesied in those days many years, that I would bring thee against them? And it shall come to pass at that time, when God shall come against the land of Israel, saith the Most High Power, that my fury shall come up in my face. For in my jealousy and in my fire, in the fire of my wrath have I spoken. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel, so that the fishes of the sea, and the fowls of the heaven, and the beasts of the field, and all the creeping things that creep upon the earth, and all the men that are upon the face of the earth, shall shake at my presence. And the mountains shall be thrown down, and the steep places shall fall, and every wall shall fall to the ground.
Go ahead.
And I will call for a sword against him throughout all my mountains, saith the Most High Power. Every man's sword shall be against his brother, and I will plead against him with pestilence and with blood. And I will rain upon him and upon his bands, and upon the many people that are with him, an overflowing rain, and great hailstones, fire, and brimstone.
That's the judgment of the nations. There's more. Let's go to Ezekiel 39. Let's start at the 8th verse. Read.
Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 8. Behold, it is come, and it is done, saith the Most High Power. This is the day whereof I have spoken. And they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth, and shall set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and the bucklers, the bows and the arrows, and the handstaves, and the spears, and they shall burn them with fire 7 years.
He shall burn them with fire 7 years. But before that, there will be a great feast of all these people who are in the army. This great feast is them actually being food for the birds. I want you to hold that, and I'm going to read this. The 2nd verse, it says, And I will turn thee back and leave but the 6th part of thee, and will cause thee to come up from the north parts, and bring thee upon the mountains of Israel. And I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, and will cause thine arrows to fall out of thy right hand. Thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Israel, thou and all thy bands, and the people that is with thee. I will give thee unto the ravenous birds of every sort, and the beasts of the field to be devoured. So their armies are in the Middle East to be food for the birds and the beasts. That's the future of these armies. So if you have any family that are joining these armies, let them know they're being prepared for a feast to get out of these armies. And it tell you here, after the armies are destroyed, then we will be empowered to go throughout the earth for 7 years, rounding up all their weapons. For 7 years, God's people are going to be in this earth taking the weapons from these nations. Why? You can't have a peaceful kingdom with weapons, with nations and other people running around with guns, missiles, and all those things. So the Most High is going to have a 7-year cleansing of taking the weapons from the people. Go back to where you were.
Verse 10.
Get you a apocrypha real quick.
So that they shall take no wood out of the field,
Go ahead.
neither cut down any out of the forest, for they shall burn the weapons with fire, and they shall spoil those that spoiled them.
And the Bible says we shall spoil the nations that spoiled us. Read.
And rob those that robbed them.
And we will rob those who robbed us. That's the future. That's the future. Read.
Saith the Most High Power.
Say it, who?
Saith the Most High Power.
Go ahead.
Verse 11. And it shall come to pass at that day that I will give unto God a place there of graves in Israel, the valley of passengers on the east of the sea. And it shall stop the noses of the passengers, and there shall they bury God and all his multitude, and they shall call it the valley of Hamon-Gog.
They shall call it the valley of Hamon-Gog. Go ahead.
And 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying of them.
So there'll be so many dead, it will take 7 months to bury all the armies in the Middle East. It's going to be a 7-month period. Read it again.
And 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying of them.
7 months burial. That's how many people are dead there. It takes 7 months just to bury them. Now this is before the binding of Satan. When Christ returns, it will be a 7-year war first. And then you take 7 months to bury the dead. And then the kingdom, then Satan is bound. And then you have your 1,000 years of rest. But it will be war when Christ returns. There will be war. And then after the war, peace. Okay? Read.
Verse 13. Yea, all the people of the land shall bury them.
Go ahead.
And it shall be to them a renown the day that I shall be glorified, saith the Most High Power. And they shall sever out men of continual employment.
So people will have jobs. There will be no unemployment. The nations will have jobs. What? Read.
Passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth to cleanse it. After the end of 7 months shall they search, and the passengers that pass through the land, when any seeth a man's bones, then shall he set up a sign by it, till the buriers have buried it in the valley of Hammon-Gog.
Go to Revelation 16 and 15.
Revelations chapter 16, verse 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth, and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. And he gathered them together into a place, called in the Hebrew tongue ARMAGEDDON.
Read it again.
And he gathered them together into a place, called in the Hebrew tongue ARMAGEDDON.
That links to your valley of Jehoshaphat, to show you he's coming as a thief. He's going to come in an hour that we think not. They're going to be fighting over there. Next thing you know, it's going to be total darkness. Then the only light coming out of the universe will be him to render judgment. And that's going to be between the time they're fighting and they find out that some of us are over there and try to come against us. Christ is going to save us the same way the Most High saved us when Pharaoh was on one side and we had the water on the other side. And the Most High had to save us at the last minute. That's how we will be saved. But at this point that I'm talking about right here, America is already destroyed, because we are about to go into